Was ist das Produkt? Nein. Genau. Okay. Und was ist das? Ich fühle mich schön.
It makes you feel beautiful.
Genau. Yeah. Perfect.
Personalised learning, the latest catchphrase in classroom teaching. But what does it actually mean in practice?
Oh, that's good, man.
In this Year 10 German lesson, Sue Pritchard is using a number of examples of personalised learning, ranging from differentiated teaching to encouraging visual, audio and kinesthetic learning styles. It's all in here.
Liebe. What's Liebe?
Best loved.
Best loved. Genau. Best loved.
Over the past 10 years here at St Bonaventure's Catholic School for Boys in East London, GCSE A to Cs have shot up from 30 to 70%. Personalised learning is a major factor.
You know, you're never in sort of trouble.
It begins with termly target-setting interviews and assessments for every pupil in the school.
How do you think you're getting on in German, Bradley?
I think I'm going to see Miss.
Yeah, OK. So, do you think you need to improve your effort in German, or do you think you're working really well in German at the moment and achieving what you want to achieve?
Probably put more effort in, Miss.
OK. And what do you mean by that? Just, I'd like to put more effort in this. What do you mean by that, Bradley?
Like, improving, like, verbs and all that, like.
The assessments reveal masses of data, but it has to be used effectively.
We've tried to improve the way that we use our data to actually develop our teaching and to make our approach to kids more focused. We do a number of assessments. We do CAT testing, we do YELLIS testing, we test visual, auditory and kinesthetic, and every term teachers report on how the children are doing in terms of level or grade and attitude and effort. Now that produces a great big booklet of information, and in order to make sure that that's used much more, we're looking at how the work's developing, we're looking at whether the information is informing planning, so we're trying to make sure that that's embedded. It's not just a question of a big book being produced that no one looks at.
All that information is influencing advanced skills teacher Sue Pritchard in today's German lesson on advertising. She'll be targeting the varying abilities of pupils whose predicted grades range from B to D.
Right, was machen wir heute? We're looking at you understanding the keywords and short phrases in these adverts. So those of you who are working towards a C, we're looking at the keywords and short phrases that you can then understand and then use in your adverts. Those of you who are working towards a B and higher need to be able to understand the detail in these adverts. Okay, so wir beginnen. Wir beginnen mit einer Anzeige. Okay, you've got 5 minutes to think about this in pairs. Bradley has the ability to achieve a C, but at the moment he is working towards a CD. Can you think of anything then, in terms of the design that makes it look like an advert?
The writing and everything.
The writing, good. What's writing? He's able to give reasons, but he's only very simplistic at the moment, and he tends to just pick out main points rather than go into any detail. Say sorry? Right, okay, good, yeah? Sometimes he needs a bit of a push to get moving and get going, but he's a lot more ambitious than he was, and so I should be encouraging him to keep focused on the activities at hand. Welche Verben, Methoden? Taschen. Was ist das auf Englisch, Taschen?
Lots of adjectives.
Sehr gut. Taschen is estimated a B grade. He needs to push himself a bit further. Is quite happy a lot of the time doing what the C grade people are doing and needs to be pushed towards doing the B grade work. Methode. Was ist die beste? I will be encouraging him to give full reasons for what he's doing and to look for the detail. Beste. Gut, sehr gut. Beste. Giorgio, hast du ein Adjektiv?
Gross.
Gross, genau. Gross. Giorgio is estimated a C grade, but is working towards a B grade, and I may well have to move him up because he is working far beyond his prediction. He finds this sort of general work quite straightforward, so he does need additional work. So what I'm going to give you now is some other adjectives that you could use in adverts. And what I want you to do in your pairs is decide whether you think it's an adjective that you could use in your advert for a town. So you might want to sort all the ones you know first. Okay, you have a go at doing some phrases as well, okay?
To help differentiate the learning, the more able students like Tashan and Giorgio are given an extra task to challenge them.
Okay. And have a look and see if you could, which of those phrases you could use about a town. Ja, so was ist das auf Englisch?
With Bradley, Sue personalises her teaching by encouraging him to use individual words.
Well, good, yeah. Built, well done. Right, brilliant, because about, you've worked that out. Good, it's built. The lower attainers, when I was talking to them, just about what the adjectives meant, and I was just focusing on the meaning, really, of the advert. Whereas when I was talking to people like Tashan and Giorgio, you know, then I was asking them to tell me what they thought of the advert, why they liked it. So in that sense, their experience was different, even though the activity itself, on the face of it, looked the same. OK, now do a couple of those.
Sue also uses new data from a pilot study on learning styles. Mark Anthony, senior tutor in the sixth form, is leading the pilot, which started with a questionnaire to pupils in years 7 and 10.
The questionnaire that we use is a series of statements which the students either agreed with or disagreed with. And then, depending upon the number of agreements, we categorise them into a different learning style. For example, I like to get involved in physical activities. That's quite clearly a kinesthetic statement. I like learning by watching films and videos is clearly visual. Each pupil in Year 7 and Year 10 has a score for each learning style. So they have a score for kinesthetic learning, for auditory learning, and for visual learning. The scores put in on a database which is made available to staff, who can then use this to focus their teaching styles for particular classes.
Das Bild ist sehr gut. Das Bild ist sehr groß, sagt man, ja? Das Bild ist groß oder das Bild ist klein, Bradley? Das Bild ist groß oder klein? Groß. The vast majority of my class, with the exception of 2, are visual and kinesthetic learners. Berühmte Fußballspieler gut. So it means that therefore I try to ensure that my lesson appeals to those type of learners. Bild ist, was ist Bild?
Bild is picture.
Picture, genau. I know they like the kind of idea of looking at things, walking around the room, looking at adverts, looking at posters, looking at information in that way, rather than just being given a worksheet to get on with.
Information.
Sehr gut, aber it's not I have a lot of information, it's it has.
Oh, S.
S.
The pilot data also reveals some surprises.
Right, put the whole sentence and put what's the word order after. I tend to use more kinesthetic methods with slightly lower ability or slightly less motivated kids. Some of my most able kids in this class are actually kinesthetic learners as well. So that kind of contradicts my assumptions, really.
Ansager ist sehr gut, weil es viele Farben und Fotos hat.
Sehr gut, perfekt. Okay, gut. Okay, setzt euch.
Personalised learning has also been used to improve the performance of boys whose behaviour can be challenging.
Victor, you weren't in registration, were you?
Victor missed Sue Pritchard's last lesson because he was temporarily excluded.
You'll have to talk to your partner who will help you find the answer. From yesterday's lesson, I'm going to ask you to say something. So it might just be a word, it might be a sentence, it might be something in the past tense. Victor's a visual, auditory and kinesthetic learner. After the test, his results came out equal. But I think generally he likes the more kinesthetic activities.
Saying it very loud.
Victor's very energetic, he's got lots of personality. Yeah, you put too much in there. Are you trying to say it was very big, it was very cheap, right? He likes doing things, he likes playing games, and he likes being quite active within the lesson. Don't worry. What you're going to do now in groups, you've been allocated an area and you have got to produce a poster promoting that area, okay? Giorgio, Adam, Victor and Terry, come and sit round this desk here. Now, there's somebody in every group who should be able to attempt the written work.
A general introduction about the area.
Victor's, within the class, his middle ability. He's got quite a good attitude to German. That doesn't mean to say that he's not distracted at times.
Check it. You've got a dictionary. Where is it back?
If we sort of appeal to the type of activities that he enjoys and that he feels that he sees as relevant, then it is possible to channel that energy. Okay, who's doing what here then? I would say you two do the design and the introduction, then move on to that. Okay? Now you two have got to look through all of these and use a dictionary. Okay, and work out which of them relate, and when they relate to do what to stick them on there. Okay? Do you need a dictionary? He quite likes group work, although sometimes it depends with the group within which he is working. He likes talking and discussing things, so again, that is his sort of auditory nature coming out there.
That's a cinema, isn't it? A cinema complex.
I deliberately put him in that team because the others, they're not people who he tends to kind of clash with, and they're people I thought he could work well with. Victor's working incredibly well. He's very much on task. He's, I think, enjoying the idea of actually picking up the separate cards separately and then deciding whether or not it's appropriate. He's using the dictionary very effectively, and he's working very well within a team. Giorgio, again, is doing the more higher level task of writing in the past tense, and he's getting on with that, and he knows exactly what's required there. They're now doing all the tasks which are relevant to their needs, both ability and in terms of learning styles.
So, design. Yes.
Like that. Jerome, Daniel, off you go quickly. As you can see there, some of them were happy with just giving sort of key words, but you've also got some nice sentences there from the cards, and they had to understand the sentence before they could actually write it down. So, and that's basically, that work is Victor's work. And then you've got here continuous writing, which is what Giorgio did, but he's put past tenses in, he's used some adjectives. So you've got a whole sort of range of ability on there, from just keywords to sentences to continuous writing. I think personalised learning is quite a sort of scary term in a lot of ways, because people don't really know what it means and what it incorporates. I think if you look into it and then you realise that really it just means knowing your pupils, knowing what their needs are and catering for those needs, and not necessarily on a one-to-one all the time. So I've got to give Victor a card activity every lesson because he's a kinesthetic learner. That's, we live in the real world, we're not going to do that, but make sure over a period of lessons, 2 or 3 lessons, there are going to be kinesthetic, auditory and visual aspects to the lesson. I think it's also, as well as knowing pupils' learning styles, it's just knowing what they're capable of doing.